Okay. I am Dr. Suzanne Johnson, and I am on the committee for Career Preparation and Exploration Committee. I worked with some really good people who had some really good ideas. We came up with the hashtag WPCP, which means Wolfpack to Career Path, to kind of be as an acronym for students to see and know that we are there to guide them on their path to a career or to further their education. But the committee came up with the acronym, and I thought it was real catchy. The next thing is that our purpose or our main focus was on helping students to determine an appropriate career path and the avenue to advance to that if they go to a four-year institution. We mainly are focusing on the orientation process and the advisement process from the time they begin college to the time they exit. And so we want to start with first-time students as they come in and start with the idea of helping them determine that they are on the right in the right major. And then from there, we would go into implementing some other things for them to explore. The other thing is that we also are looking at an orientation. We do two or three orientation days or days in the summer when we do registration. I and Miss Penny and a bunch of others on our committee were talking about at some of the four-year institutions. They have an orientation day where parents and students come to the campus, and it kind of brings those two together, and it focuses on the students getting familiar with the campus, learning about the campus, and also knowing if they're kind of in the right major. So what we were looking at doing here was have a student come in and they would register for orientation prior to the day of the day before they come, a day before. And we also talked about having some days when it was not necessarily during the week, during times when parents are working, maybe have an afternoon session, or maybe have a one Saturday morning session or something like that, where parents and students could come together for orientation into the college. And then possibly at that point, have like maybe a 3-hour session with these students and their parents, and them not all the time. They wouldn't be together all the time. We would have the students come together with the parents for an opening session, and then have a tour set aside for the students that would guide them through some areas on campus, and also to some of the different departments. And then at the end, that student would actually be in the department that they would be majoring in. They would meet with their actual advisor, and they would sit down and create their schedule before they exited that program or exited that orientation day. While the students were doing that, the parents would be going through an orientation to do to learn about the campus as well, but some of the financial aid, the scholarships, things like that for parents. And then everybody meet back together at the end and just have a closing session. But in order for this to take place, what we were looking at is that we would need to develop an advisement process and have all advisors on board with this, and have some training for them so that they would actually know what the process would be. One of the things that Ms. Penny Hartley came up with was she saw that we have that there's a software that's called What Can I Do With This Major? Cost about $300 for the campus. That could be used in the advisement of these students to kind of know if they are choosing a major that they're really truly interested in, and what they would do with it once they graduated. The last thing would be establish an exit of maybe what we wanted to do is when they leave here, we don't want to just leave them hanging. We wanted them to be able to have a 1 hour maybe course to exit, which would help them with transitioning to the four-year university. or even if they're leaving here at that point to go to work, maybe have a partnership with some of the workforce so that we transition those students out without any hitches. If they are going to a four-year institution, they would be able to maybe make contact with the department there that they're transferring to, and maybe be a connection there. We also know that the staff and faculty would have to be, trained in using the software that we're talking about. And we thought maybe that even putting it as an objective in some of our curriculum, that what would a student do if they go into a certain major, and what kind of, maybe have some presenters come in and talk to them. And then at the end of that, we ended up saying that, we would want the students to experience an easy transition. And a lot of this is based, I guess, on personal experience from some of the people in the on our committee of, what our own children have gone through as in transitioning, just not really knowing what to do or where to go once they leave Co-Lin, or even when they're entering Co-Lin. So our thought process was to make this to where it would make our students feel more secure in their career choices, and not that they're not being kind of left alone, that we're there to help guide them through. Finally, what we really wanted to see at the end was maybe even host an annual orientation and financial day for students and parents. And what we also thought would be a benefit would be to launch a senior college advisory board to advise our students in their transition. And again, that incorporating of the business speakers into our curriculum. And that's what we kind of thought would happen if we decided to go with this QEP. It would just be something that would be beneficial to our students. And as far as retainment, retaining those students, keeping them here, making them feel a little bit better about what their life choices are. And that's pretty much it.